It was 2000, my 40th birthday. My wife showed up with a gift for me to go to the Michael Jordan fantasy basketball camp. I said, honey, how much does this cost? She said, $15,000. I said, return this now. I'm not going. But Michael Jordan's your hero, your idol. You know you've been dying to go to this camp. Go. Return this gift now. He says it's not refundable. If not, we're going to lose our money. Get your ass in shape and get to Vegas and go to the camp and have fun. I went to the camp that summer. On the first day, blew out my calf. One of the first times I ever cried while I played sports, as Michael Jordan ran onto the court, stepped on my other foot, to play with the team that I was supposed to be on. Pissed me off. Went home, got into Rocky mode. It was 15 years ago. And all I did was think about beating Michael Jordan, kicking him off the court. I ran, I worked out, personal trainers, and I just picturized every day hitting that shot on Jordan and telling him to get off the court. I went back the next summer, back to the Jordan camp, in what I thought was pretty good shape. I saw Michael at the reception, told him I had a dream. I kicked his ass playing in a basketball game, and I hit the winning shot on him. He said, that sounds more like a nightmare, Brandon. So later that night, I happened to be in a small little gambling pit with Michael, and not kind of keeping up with his stakes, but we were hanging out, and I said, Michael, I'm going to kick your ass this weekend. He says, well, why don't you meet me tomorrow morning? 7:30, we play. We have pickup before the camp starts. So at about 6:30, I was down there. I also told him not to wear that fairy powder blue stuff when he came to play. Why I was in this talking trash mindset, I don't know. I wasn't a big trash talker as a player. I saw Michael. I was good there, a good hour stretching, getting ready, and I actually got my opportunity to go on the court and play Michael. Immediately when I got on the court, we were playing 4-on-4. I said, I got Michael. I wanted to make sure that that was clear. And on the first play, there was a clank, a ball, and I had boxed Michael out. I'd say about 15 feet off the court. I had grabbed everything that really another guy shouldn't be grabbing another guy. And he looked at me and he says, who are you? I said, I'm the guy that is not going to let you score, and I'm going to win this game. So we continued playing. On the first shot, I mean, I'm looking for the ball. I'm a dog without a bone. I'm looking to score. I'm looking to go. I'm looking to win. And as soon as I get that ball, I take that first shot, nothing but net. And, Michael kind of probably didn't see me coming. He starts, nodding his head. Michael, why don't you play a little defense? Now, in my mind, I actually felt that I could take him. I thought I had him. So as soon as the next ball gets back into play, I go to take my next shot, and he's a good 10 feet away from me. Good. And I don't know if that ball has landed, but he comes over and swats my shot to 2 courts over. And he just gave me shaking his head. So the game keeps playing, and it's a 7-game, and they're winning 6-5, and I'm feeling like maybe this dream isn't going to come true. And Michael's got the ball, and he's kind of, really messing with me now, and I'm focused, locked in, still think I could do it, but I'm beginning to maybe have a little worried mindset. And for some reason, he passes the ball to some short, stubby guy underneath the basket. He misses the layup. I run to the top of the key, ask for the ball, take the shot, goes in. High score. I know I got to get this ball. So at this point, Michael's starting to guard me. And unfortunately, when the ball gets in, I pass the ball to someone and I ask for it right back, and one of his guys gets in the way. He can't get to guard me. And immediately, I go with the shot. Nothing but net. Game over. Michael, get off my court and watch me play right now. At that point, the whole camp was there, so I have a lot of witnesses. And how that story hopefully relates to all of you is that, dreaming and fantasizing and picturizing is such an important part of business and of life. And being the underdog, which I'll talk about a little bit later on, really can ultimately be the ultimate favorite. You know, the underdog really is the favorite, and we'll talk about that. But certainly I was an underdog on that day. I don't think anybody thought, because if anybody knows Michael Jordan, he doesn't let you win. He doesn't. I caught him on a day. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what happened, but at the end of the day, I caught him on that day. He doesn't let you win. He doesn't come off that court. And he was pissed. For a few minutes, he walked off. It was just like he had to walk off and watch me play the next game, which I'm sure the other campers weren't happy about. But I really felt in every inch of my body that I could guard him and that I could take him. Very delusional, but true. When I was 12 years old, people always ask me, how did this whole Steiner thing work out? I mean, you sold $50 million of dirt. You've had Derek Jeter for 18 years, Yankees, Steiner. I mean, how? How does this success come about? I mean, how'd you do it? And it's a long answer, but it always starts with me. Is, you know, I lived on Kings Highway in Brooklyn. I was 12 years old, and I already had 3 jobs. You know, I had started working when I was 10. Now, for those of you that are married here, you have a 10-year-old. You're hoping that 10-year-old maybe gets dressed and comes down for breakfast without you calling about 50 times, begging them to come down. At 10, I'm up on my own working. So at 12, I was already 3 or 4 jobs in, working the streets, and I decided I'm a big sports fan. I couldn't work Saturdays and after school. I was working for Freddie the Footman, and by the way, you know, the book, You Gotta Have Balls, that's a book dedicated to my mom, and it's all the lessons that she taught me. It's a book that you probably wouldn't see coming because you think it's a sports book, but it's really all the lessons that my mother taught me. And her favorite line was, you gotta have balls. Be fearless. Get out there. Do something. You know, make it happen. Do it right. Go all the way. So at 12, I was already, you know, I don't want to work these after school jobs, so what was a natural? Deliver the newspaper. You know, back then, I think we have generally older people. You know, for the young kids, people did read newspapers back then. To clarify that. But so I delivered the daily news, 29 dailies and 34 Sundays. And, you know, I'm walking around now in Brooklyn. They got all these high-rises, apartment buildings. I mean, you know, I grew up on a street where if you grew up 4 blocks away, it's a possibility I never even saw you. I mean, that's how many people were in such a small, you know, parameter of space. So I was walking up and down and delivering these 29 dailies, and I'm like, God, this is really annoying. I mean, I'm walking by, I could be dropping all papers here. So what does a kid do? There's a contest. Whoever opens up the most accounts gets a box of candy bars. Now, I saw the light at an early age. Unfortunately, it was the refrigerator light because I was starving. And we were very poor. So a box of candy bars, there was no doubt. If anything, I'm winning this box of candy bars. And I'm going to shoot for 2 boxes 2 weeks in a row. So what do? I start knocking on doors. Run to this woman, and you know, I'm having not a lot of luck, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, I'm a 12-year-old knocking on doors, and I don't know if I quite knew what I was doing, but I was, you know, hoping people would get the paper delivered. And this about 75-year-old woman comes to the door and says, "Can I help you?" I said, "Man, wow, I got a stack of newspapers in there." I'm like, "Great, man, would you get the paper delivered for me?" You know, Sonny, no, not really. I go to the corner store, I get that. I'm like, "Ma'am, it's the same price for me as it is for the corner store. It's 8 cents. Why wouldn't you do that?" "Well, then I got to tip you." So I go home. I'm like, "Mom, can you believe these people, how cheap they are?" She says, "Listen, you know, you have to understand that when you have a product that other people have, you've got to differentiate yourself." So I go back. I'm trying to get my arms wrapped around what exactly that means, but I start knocking on doors, and I go back to the woman. She says, "Sonny, didn't I tell you the other day that I don't want to get the paper delivered?" I said, "Ma'am, I've been worried about you. I've been thinking about you. If it's snowing out, torrential downpours, storms, heat wave, a woman like yourself shouldn't have to worry about going out and getting a newspaper. If I bring you milk on Wednesdays and Sundays," because that could be a problem too, you need to have your milk, "and I bring you hot bagels." So I pass by a bagel store on my way every day. "If I bring you hot bagels on Sunday and milk on Wednesdays and Sundays, would you get the paper delivered for me then? Rain, shine, no matter what. I'll show up. And if you need something else, I'll get that too. You would do that for me? I'm concerned. I was thinking about you. 12. Well, 199 dailies, 234 Sundays. You know I won those 2 boxes of candy bars. Later, 2 carts. I had to go back to fill my shopping cart up twice. Is how many papers I had. Because that woman referred me to everyone. I was delivering more milk and bagels. I mean, it was unbelievable. Now, how that story relates to all of you is that we're all selling something. The question is, are you really listening to what the customer needs and how they need to receive what you're selling? Are you able to really digest what the person you're selling to really needs? Are you really listening? Because that value proposition at 12 years old got me Derek Jeter, got me the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees didn't need me. I thought they were going to take my season tickets away and kick my butt out. But they had a need. And I was always approaching every business situation first of what does this person that I'm trying to sell something to need? And let me take care of what they need first. I mean, Derek Jeter, but I knew he had his turn too, and I locked in on the turn too, and I helped him every which way, and his family every which way, to get that foundation kicked off. And that was the value proposition, hoping that if I did all the right things, something that he needed, that maybe there would be a recourse of him maybe want to do business with me, and it worked out pretty well. So value proposition is so important. It's critical in really in the ultimate sale. 12 years old. Mom telling me to go out and differentiate yourself. And right now, you know, with an economy that's on its way back, but we've all had some concerns, you have to take what you have and think about it differently. I mean, I'm not proud. $50 million of dirt sales. I mean, I'm going to be remembered as a guy who sold dirt. I mean, but it was a value proposition that I thought people were interested in getting, because when you go on the field at Yankee Stadium, this hollowed, you know, incredible ground that Mickey Mantle walked on, Joe DiMaggio, Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera on the mound as they take the dirt off the mound that this great pitcher pitched. I see that people always bend over and grab a little dirt. And I'm like, man, I'd like a little of that. So I just figured I'd sell it. And the margins are amazing. And you know what's great about that? On an inventory level, underneath that dirt, there's more dirt. I love it. You know, the thing that's interesting is when you talk about success and, you know, all of your, you know, driving and striving and hustling and trying to build your businesses. And obviously, you know, we want to meet more customers. I want to take the existing customers and do more with them. But one of my big things, and one of the things that really helped me with success, is productivity. So I think that a lot of how you do during your day has a lot to do with what happens, you know, how you sleep at night and how your day starts off. So tomorrow morning, I'm already asking for something, but tomorrow morning I'm asking you to do one thing for me. When you wake up in the morning, first thing, I mean literally, first thing, your eyes open up, I want you to think of Brandon Steiner, and I want you to lock in on your first 90 seconds. You see, the first 90 seconds are the most important part of your day. It is the capital of your day. It controls the other 23 hours, 58 minutes, and 30 seconds. Your first 90 seconds, if it's on the money, and if it's correct, your 23 hours and 58 minutes and 30 seconds is going to be correct. Have a bad 90 seconds, you're going to have a bad day. So I start off with, and I know I'm a sports guy, but I start off with my MVP list, my most valuable priorities. I got to get my most valuable priorities straight. Now, I used to, when I was building my business, I get up, I don't even know if my wife was alive. Usually I'd step on her head. No idea where the kids are. I mean, you know, I know they're going to school, but debate whether I even wanted to take a shower. I'm like, I got to get to the office. I got to go figure I can make some money. But instead now I start my day off a little slower. And that first 90 seconds, I'm thinking about, you know, an employee that maybe had a kid that maybe, you know, he's in his third day after having just his firstborn. I'm thinking my wife has a mammogram at 11. My kid has a test today. Now I'm not going to call my kid. I'm going to text him. How'd your test go? Can't call. But, you know, I'm going to call my wife at 11:01. I have an employee. Because what happens is, if I asked all of you why you work so hard and so much. You tell me you do it for your family, you do it for your kids, you do it for your husband, you do it for your wife. But yet, you'll go through a whole day and you'll forget about the most important things. You'll forget that your kid had a test. Or you'll forget that one of your employees, one of your key employees is going through something. Just ask them how they're doing. So when you reset and you come up with your most valuable priorities, it's not going to happen. You're not going to forget. You're always going to take care of the most important things first with the most important people. The second thing I want to do is I want to come up with my not-to-do list. Everybody has a to-do list. I got my not-to-do list. All the people that I need to sprint away from. All the situations I need to get away from. And that helps you make that to-do list phenomenally easy. So you want to start thinking about people that are draining you, taking up your time, taking up all the things that are necessary to take care of the people that are important to you. I look at my not-to-do list. Now, I always think, the grass is greener over there. The grass is greener where you water it. So I want to know who's important. I want to take care of the most important people. And I want to think about that right in my first 90 seconds. Now, if I get out of bed and I don't have my story straight, like this morning, I was like, oh, man, I got to go to Westchester Business Council. I got to go to this damn speech. I got more. No, I'm just kidding. But if I did go through that, I would go, which, we've all done that. We wake up, oh, man, I got this, I got that. Or you got to get back into bed and you got to get the story straight. Because if you start those 90 seconds off the wrong way, it's going to continue to get worse as the day goes on. And a lot of it is a matter of perspective. You have 60,000 thoughts in a day. 60,000 thoughts in a day. You're controlling how your day goes with those 60,000. And you've got to start off with those initial thoughts, making sure they're going the right way. 86,500 seconds in a week. I don't want to waste a second. So a lot of times by doing the things you don't want to do, it's taken away from what you want to do. So when you say yes to one thing, you're really saying no to something else. So a lot's going on in those first 90 seconds, and I'm big on productivity. I don't want to waste a second. I don't want to waste a thought. I mean, life is short. I mean, I'm still going. I'm 55. I'm feeling I got a great run ahead of me. The paint is not dry. Take the hand off of the alternate delete and control button and reset and start with your first 90 seconds and make it a great day. It's amazing how many days are done before you even get the foot hitting the floor. So tomorrow when you wake up, think of me and think of those first 90 seconds. So we talk about value proposition, talk about productivity. Here's one of the most important things I think about entrepreneurism and people fighting for their business. Here's a delusional thing. Is people think that if they're passionate, that they're going to be successful. So they're running around looking for passion. And what I will tell you is that success starts with commitment. I'm a commitment guy. I didn't know if this dirt was going to work. I got committed to it, and it led me to passion. Commitment will lead you to passion. You have a kid in high school, he's not committed. He's not passionate about going to school X. He hasn't even gone there yet. But he makes a commitment, and that commitment will lead him to be passionate, and he'll end up loving the school he goes to. Commitment leads you to passion, and intensity fuels passion. So think about where you're at on that scheme. If you're not out there waiting to get really all lovey-dovey and passionate about your business, you may want to take a step back and question your commitment. Are you all in? So when I think about the word all in, it gets thrown around a lot, and that's how I kind of look at my own employees at Steiner. I'm kind of judging the all-in process. It's an emotional, spiritual, mental capacity and physical capacity. Do I have somebody that's physically, emotionally, mentally all in? It's kind of like the fire. Most people look at the fire as passion. But the reality is the wood is the commitment. You can't have the fire without the wood, without the birch. Making sure the hole's right, making sure you got the right paper to put in there. All those things that build the fire starts with, so to me, the commitment is wood. The passion is the fire, and you can't bypass the commitment to get to the passion. So make sure that you got your commitment level on a high level. And that's what leads me at Steiner. It's like I just get powered by what people want. I get powered what seems to feel right, what I think gifts or players that I think that players will want to meet. and all the crazy things we do at Steiner. I'm just following what I think people will be interested in. And I get committed because sometimes it's really confusing. You know, when I sell a hockey stick that's broken and then turn around and make it into an ice scraper or a back scratcher, I mean, that's confusing. But I got committed about it, and we've sold thousands of them. Great margins. Because it's a broken hockey stick, you know? So, you know, I've tried, you know, I remember, you know, going to my mother-in-law and trying to explain to her that if, you know, that I was going to do this thing where I was going to have a player appear and all these people were going to come. And she was like, well, why would people come? And a player's going to actually show up and then people are going to come? Like, yeah. I mean, you got to understand that when you're starting things off, a lot of times people don't necessarily understand it. And without that commitment, and really without that real fire, it's hard to convince people about what it is you're completely convicted about. And you got to stay on course. So that commitment part really will show up when things get a little rough. And, you know, going home and explaining to my mother-in-law that a player walks into my office and signs a baseball. I'm taking a player to a golf tournament and somebody's paying me to do that. Like, why? Why would somebody do that? I mean, now it's become common occurrence. You know, 28 years ago, it was a little bit different. It was a little bit unique. Just something to think about. I'll tell you a little story. I always say, you know, if you want to go get your business going, you got to go get it. And it's something I try to do every day. It's like I try to wake up every day. I don't want to have a white piece of paper to start my day off with when I get to the office. I've got my priorities right. I feel like I'm in a productive state of mind. And does everybody remember Jeremy Lin, that Jeremy Lin saga? So I'm in the office. I'm going to go to a game with a guy from JP Morgan Chase. And before I leave, I'm like, are we doing something with Jeremy Lin? I see him kind of get things heated up. They're playing the Lakers tonight. I'm going to give him a look. We're doing something. We're going to put him in our store in Roosevelt Field. I said, cool, good. All right, so we're on that. Good. Okay, so I go to the game, and I start seeing Jeremy Lin going crazy, going off. I call everybody in the office. I said, back off. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Do not call Jeremy Lin, his agent. No, I got this. Well, 67 phone calls later, I thought that was a little repetitive, and maybe I was a little bit out of my mind. Calling his agent on the 68th time, he picked up the phone. I said, I got to get this guy. And he says, you know, I said, I've been trying to call you. So, you know, I see that your number has come up quite a bit. I said, my first thing I said to him, how can I help you? I know we'll end up doing something down the road, but you're in San Antonio. Your guy's going crazy. You got companies around the world trying to get Jeremy. How can I help you? Like, what can I do for you to help you? He said, well, that's very nice. No one's called me up with that thought. Thank you, Mom. But it's a little crazy. I'm trying to sort through some things. I said, you know, it's funny. I'm going to be in San Antonio on Friday. Maybe I can stop by. I'm not really going to be in San Antonio, but hey, there's a plane. I'll get on it. We'll go to San Antonio. He goes, you know, it's funny. I'm not going to be here Friday. I'm coming to New York. I said, well, you must need a driver, you know, to get around and go see all the things you want to do. I'll have my driver. I don't have a driver, but I'll get one. I'll have my car pick you up, take you anywhere you want to go all day. So on Friday, where's the first place that he goes? He takes me up on my driver. He comes to Steiner Sports. And we continue to have some conversations. The next day, Jeremy Lin's parents are up using my driver. And we got conversation going. 2 weeks go by, and we're going back and forth and trying to negotiate. Remember, you got every company in the world trying to get Jeremy. And Jeremy gets announced to the Futures All-Star Game. And things are not happening as fast as I like. I want to get this deal done. So I call up and I said, hey, I'd like to get this deal done. Maybe we can get it done down in the All-Star Game. Now, I see that Jeremy just got announced. Do you need a ride? Because I can have my plane pick you guys up, take you down to the All-Star Game. We can drive back and talk about the business deal on the way. I don't have a plane, but I can get one. So he says, you know, actually, we can use a ride back. I said, it's fine. I'll have my plane down there, and my plane can always take us back. As it turns out, we go down there. Now, I happen to be an NBA licensee, but unfortunately, I didn't ask for the tickets, and now we're a week before. So I'm calling up some of my friends, you know, you got tickets. And a friend of mine says, listen, I happen to have a room and a couple tickets for you. It's a born-again Christian conference that's going to the NBA All-Star Game, athletes first. If you don't mind going to a couple sermons and a couple things, you know, listen, I know Mariano, I've gone to his church, I do understand that faith a little bit. I think I'll be okay. So we understand a lot more about Jesus Christ than I did prior. And we spent a weekend with a lot of born-again Christians. Nothing wrong. It's a beautiful faith. And they were beautiful, actually beautiful people. So I get on the plane. Jeremy is a born-again Christian, by the way. And he doesn't show up because he gets diverted. So now I'm with the mom, dad. How was your weekend? Great. Where were you? Well, I was with Athletes First. Athletes First, isn't that a born-again Christian group? I said, as a matter of fact, it is. Are you born-again Christian? Now, my mother did pop up in my ear and says, don't you dare. So I said, I have a very strong faith, and I have a very strong understanding about that faith, and I have a lot of friends that are enjoying that faith. And it was a very spiritual weekend. It was very helpful to me. And it's something that I really love supporting, even though I am not born-again Christian. So we continued the conversation for 3 hours, and we're rolling right along. And sure enough, I think, 3 hours with the mom, I think we're done. We're there. No one's done a deal with Jeremy yet. Another week goes by, my wife's like, what are you doing? It's 1 a.m, you're supposed to be slowing down. I'm like, honey, back off. I got this. He's in San Antonio, it's 2 hours. I got it. So sure enough, I'm starting to drill down, trying to get this deal done. And the agent calls me up, it's midnight. He says, Brandon, I think I got this. I need one thing from you. I need a reference. I need to call one of your players. I said, no problem, Mike. It's midnight. Who am I going to call? I said, just tell me which player. I'll see if I get him on the phone. He says, I'd like to talk to Mariano Rivera. He says, midnight. Oh, my God. If anybody goes to bed early, it's Mariano. And it's midnight. So I call him up at spring training. He's down in Tampa. It's the beginning of spring training. And he says, who died? What's wrong? Are you crazy? I said, dude, I'm so sorry for calling you this late, but I need you right now. I got Jeremy Lin's agent on the other line. I need you to call him and give me a reference and tell what it's like to work with me. I'll call him in the morning. No, you need to call him right now. Seriously? Well, anyway, 15 minutes later, the agent calls me back. Mariano called him. He says, Brandon, this deal's done. Wow. I picked this athlete randomly. What a reference. Amazing. So 2 days later, we signed Jeremy Lin. We were the first company to get our deal done, as opposed to all these worldwide companies, and we were the first one to get it done. And there's two things now that resonates with you. First of all, I got to deal with Mariano, who tells me now he's my closer, which is, I do tell him that I have more than one pitch, so, but he's my closer. And I think that, the thing that I want you to, that resonates with all of you is you got to sometimes go and get it. You come up with a great story about why you can't do something or why something can't happen. But I think that as a leader, and some of you are running businesses and managing people, you have to set the example that you've got to be the best person to go get it. And there is nothing that's going to stop you to go get it. And listen, I've made a lot of money, and I could have given that to somebody in my office, but it was a big deal. And I knew it was going to be a hard deal. And you're going to have balls. You can't be fearful. You have to be fearless. You can't be afraid. And these opportunities are coming up all the time. And you're coming up with all the excuses and reasons about why you can't go get it. Oh, this person's too difficult. Oh, this person, well, they're not real. Oh, they're already with another company. Or this. You got to just wake up sometimes and go get it. Which brings me to this little material I want to run by. It's a little bit of a new material I've been working on in my head. I have a lot of issues. I'm a huge daydreamer. And if you've known me, I could go to a lot of different planets over the course of a different day. But right from here, I need to go. I've never bought a lottery ticket, by the way. And I had a dream last night that I won the lottery. Which is insane. I never bought a lottery ticket. And I always have these fights with my kids about whether, because at 15, I was going to a lottery store with my friend. He wanted to buy me some lottery tickets. I was like, no, do not buy me a lottery ticket. I don't want to win. I'm poor. I have no money. I don't want to win. That's not how I want to go get it. I want to obtain my success with hard work. I want to go figure it out. I don't want to have somebody give me $1 million on a lottery. And if you remember, 40 years ago, the lottery was just getting started. It was a big deal. And we always argue with my kids. So I'd say to my son, if I gave you a pill, and you took this pill, you'd be a millionaire, you'd be successful. If you take this other pill, you'd have to work your tail off, work hard, but you'd be successful and have everything you want to. Which one would you take? Dad, give me that pill. I'll take it right now. I want to be successful now. I'm not even taking a chance till later on. And so we always have that argument around the dinner table. And it's an interesting argument. Like, do you want to work hard for your success, or do you want to be lucky and hope that that success comes, an easy way? Good dilemma around the dinner table, So I've been thinking about this in my head, and I dreamt that I won the lottery this morning, so I will leave here and buy a lot of lottery tickets. I don't know why, but I think it would be great for the charity angle, and maybe I could do some good for the world if I win the damn thing. But I've been thinking a lot about the underdog versus the favorite. This is the game that I play in my head all the time. Like, now, all of us think that we all have a little bit of underdog in us. Because at the end of the day, the underdog has everything to win. The favorite has everything to lose. So the real goal is, if you're managing people, is how do I create an underdog situation? Right? The smart coaches, we just won 3 championships. Nobody think we could do 4. We just won 20 games in a row. No one thinks we can win 25. We're the underdog. Everybody's against us. You're always trying to figure out the underdog mentality. Why? Because the underdog has everything to win, nothing to lose. The favorite has very little to win, everything to lose. So the question is, how do you create that underdog mentality in your mind? And the big question is, we do a good job at that. We all feel like we have a little underdog chip. Certainly I had that underdog chip 15 years ago when I kicked Michael Jordan's ass. I thought I was an underdog. Nobody thought I could do it. I told 1 million people what I was going to do. Nobody believed it. Right? The question is what type of underdog are you? Let's all agree that we all have that underdog aspect to us. But there's 2 types of underdogs. There's the underdog that's a spectator, where you got kind of close. You became a VP, but you didn't think you could become the prez. You were happy to get close to the court and just go to the Jordan game. It didn't matter to really beat Jordan. But you were happy just to go to the camp and participate. Or did you want to take the guy on, head on? You're the underdog that's a spectator. You're good. You've had a good run. You're healthy. You come up with all the right answers. I'm healthy. I have happy kids. I have a nice long marriage. I'm good. And it's a good spectator's view. You talk yourself into being, you've come way further than you ever thought you were going to be. And that's a great underdog role. There's nothing wrong with it. But then the other underdog role is, I'm climbing over the fence, I'm getting onto the field, and I'm going to win. No one thinks I can win. No one thinks that I could be the next president. No one thinks that I could become the CEO of this company one day, because I'm come pretty far already. I mean, I'm a president. Nobody thought I was going to be a president. I'm the CEO, that's... So the question you want to ask yourself is, have you talked yourself into the spectator underdog mindset, or are you in the underdog mindset that you're not done, you're not finished? Because I could be good. And you saw the tape. I mean, there's some pretty good names, athletes that believe in me. Derek Jeter, Eli Manning, great. I could take that spectator seat right now and say, I'm good. Or I could still climb over the fence, go get the private plane, and go get Jeremy Lin and say, my business is not finished. I'm still going to do things that no one else thought I could do. So that's what I want you to think about today when you go out on the floor, is like, what underdog role are you taking on? Are you the underdog that thinks that if not me, then who? Or the underdog role that says, I've come really far, I've done pretty good, I'll take what I can get? What's the story that you're telling yourself? A couple things that I know for sure. I know you guys weren't thinking that the sports guy, well, he got kind of serious on me, but you probably want to know how I got successful. I'm just giving you the kind of insight. First of all, never, ever order ballpark food before the end of the 3rd inning. It's probably left over from the game before. Now, I have no idea what that has to do with this talk, but I just thought it was important to make sure you all walked out with some vital information. Not before the end of the 1st quarter, not before the end of the 3rd inning, please. Back off from the souvenir and the concession stands. It's left over from the game before. Anybody here married? Yeah. Okay, let me give you a little tip here to extend your marriage. First of all, I wrote a great blog yesterday on what else. If you go to brandonsteiner.com, and most of you won't, but if you really want to get a lot of off-the-cuff information. I'm not a marriage counselor, I'm certainly not an expert on it. I'm going to give you one good tip, but yesterday's blog was a great tip on extending your marriage and keeping your marriage great. And in 2 days, we're doing a great tip on increasing the amount of sex you have in your marriage. I'm not the expert, but I hung out with John Gray from Men Are From Mars, Women From Venus, and I'm like, dude, I want to know everything there is to improve my sex life. And he wasn't hesitant in telling me 2 days. He's only supposed to stay 1. So that got extended. I put all that on tape. So if you're actually interested in that stuff. But here's the one little tip on it. I'll give you a little snippet. If you're women and your guys like to watch sporting events, let them watch it and you'll have more sex. Why? Because when guys watch sporting events, their testosterone goes through the roof. They go back to their childhood phase and you automatically have more. So I support, go watch the game, honey. But the thing is that when I went home and I told my wife, I said, honey, you know if we have sex 3 or 4 times a week, I'm going to live 10 years longer. There's the studies that have been done. And I went like a month without having sex after that. I was like, Jesus. I'm kidding. But anyway, great blog this week on that from John Gray, and a great blog on marriage, on relationships, which came from a marriage therapist anonymously, that really laid it out of all the things that guys don't get and all the things that women don't get that's important to have a healthy marriage, and some little tidbits, especially if some of you are going to become empty nesters. So I thought it was like a relevant blog. No idea what this has to do with the conversation, but it was worth bringing up. I was going to give you a tip. Here's my best tip. So on date night, all of you tell me how important it is, why you work so hard for your husbands, for your wives, for your family. You go out on date night. I've been going out a lot with my wife, because we're empty nesters, and all I do is I see couples with the cell phones. So leave your cell phone home on date night. 1 night a week, disconnect and leave your cell phone home on date night. It's a game changer. So the first time I did this, I said, honey, I'm not taking my phone with me. She's like, is everything okay? Nah, I'm going to focus on you. I want to just make sure we get some conversation in, catch up. I'm not taking my phone. Well, first, that was a great night. But second of all, it's like, if you think about it, it's like if you don't have 3 hours for the most important person in your life to catch up, what are you doing? It's a game changer. So now I know the way I am. I don't trust myself also. I have to admit that. Because I know I'm the guy underneath the table. I go to the bathroom 3 times. We go out for dinner. And at the end, who's emailing you on Friday night? Tell them to stop. Because there's not much going on that can't be taken care of on Saturday morning. But every now and then I do say, honey, I'm in the middle of a deal. And I do want to go out with you tonight, but so I'm going to have to take my phone with me. I may be interrupted. So I do that. And I know there's some possibly once in a while I'll see a doctor in the restaurant and they're getting they're on call and that kind of thing. But most of you are not doctors. Okay? And businesses on a Friday night can shut down for 3 hours. And the last time you did that was a long time ago. And that's not good. And the same thing with your kids. You ask my kids, I said, Brandon was the best dad. He's busy. He's always on his phone. I went through a 5-year period where I missed half the Little League games, even though I was there. So I was on my damn phone. So in the latter part of it, I started leaving my phone home for a few hours. Quality of time, not quantity. And if you can't give your significant person 3 hours, it's going to be a rough week. You get yourself right on a Friday night, the week goes by a lot better because you're on the same page. And it's about getting your MVP list together, right? Couple things. In our office, we have a lot of quirky things at Steiner, but so in our office, we have this thing called 2 things. Because one thing, if I have one thing, it kind of sounds serious, and it's really not enough. And if I tell you I got 3 things to go over, it's, oh God, it's got a list now. So I go 2 things, kind of seems like a good amount of things to kind of run by, So everything in my mind is always 2 things. So kind of a hockey, like 2 points. So, well, first of all, 2 most important books, your date book and your checkbook. Go take a step back. Go take a look at where you spend your money. Go take a look at where you spend your time. That has a lot to do with who you are, right? 2 most important days in your life. 2 most important days in your life. The day you were born. I mean, hell, you beat out millions and millions of other sperm cells just to get there. I mean, that's a big freaking day, right? I mean, you just didn't pop out. I mean, you were kicking 60, 70, 80, 100 million other sperm cells. You were competing like crazy just to get out here and become somebody in this world. So that's an important day. But the second most important day is that you realize the purpose of why you were born. Why you're here. What is your purpose? What is it you're trying to do? You just think about that. Because most people would say, well, it's the day I was born to my wife, married to my wife, my kids were born. But the most important day is the day you were born. The second most important day, the day you realize why you were born. 2 things. Just a couple other things. Oh, by the way, all you nervous Nellies, right? Oh, I'm worried, I'm so worried, There's only two things to worry about. I'll simplify it. Two things. You worry about what's about to happen, and you deal with what just happened. Anything in between, you're shortening your life dramatically. So start thinking about how much energy and time you're worrying about things, and put more time into preparing for what's about to happen, and put more time in dealing with what just happened. And you're going to shorten everything. Another good two things, by the way. Here's the last thing I'll go over. And stop selling and start solving. If there's anything that you kind of got a little bit from me, it's like, be a solver, not a seller. Stop selling and start solving. Look at people's problems and be somebody that wants to help them instead of worrying about making a sale. Be authentic about when you say to someone, how can I help you? Be that person who actually wants to help you, not only based on how much money I can make from you. And the last thing is, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I was always a tough boss. You know, I always drove my people really hard, but I think like nice guys finish last. I think that shit is over. I think nice guys finish first. I think that you've got to create a love fest in your operation. I think that if you want people to have fun and love you, you've got to create love right inside your operation. And you've got to go out of your way as a leader, as a manager to do it. And it's not just, you know, sending a little Christmas gift around holiday time. I mean, it's really thinking about your employees on a day-to-day basis and creating that love fest and creating that love attitude and love atmosphere. It used to be a sign of weakness. It's really a sign of strength. It's what people are looking for now in customer service, and they're looking from their salespeople. People want more love. They don't want to be, you know, sliced and diced. So think about that in your own operations, you know, as far as, do you have the right love going on? If you go to Steiner, I hope many of you come up to our office and visit. Hopefully you'll come to some of our events. But when you think about it, you'll see the love when you walk in our operation. Not only from the receptionist, you see it from the salespeople, you'll see it from the accounting, you'll see it in my warehouse. And it's because it starts with you. It starts with you starting that way. Walking around your office, not finding what people are doing wrong, but finding out what people are doing right. That's a real common occurrence. Like, you know, you're doing that wrong, you're doing that right. It's like, there's only one simple conversation with an employee you want to have. Here's what I want you to do less of. Here's what I want you to do more of. And by the way, I love you. You know, and that's why I'm telling you, because I want to see you do better. Anyway, that's what Steiner is. I hope you come to the website, give us a visit. I'm going to be at table 101 with one of my favorite players. And this guy, everything stopped when this guy used to pitch. So we'll be over at that table. I'm going to sign some books with Dwight Gooden, who's here. So thank you, Dwight. One of the nicest guys you ever want to meet. All the money from the books goes to charity. If you're familiar with my two homes in White Plains for Family Services at Westchester. All the money goes to my two homes, a girls' home and a boys' home. I hope you go to the blog. And if you have any questions, you know, I'm on Facebook, so you can always Facebook me or email me. For those of you that aren't on Facebook, wake up. Your life is slipping by. Leave your cell phone home on your next date night and email me and tell me how great that night was. So leave that cell phone home and have the balls to be the right kind of underdog. Okay, stop being a spectator. I'll see you out there if you have any questions. And right, we out of time?
We are out of time.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Now, listen to Mr. Steiner. We always say to Business Council that we are... Mike. I need a mic. Thank you. Okay, thank you. We always say at the Business Council that we are not about selling, we're not about transactions. We're about solving problems, building relationships, and that's what I heard today. I hope that we got you in a great mood to go out and to start solving, not selling, and enjoy the day. Have a great day for business. I'm going to ask all sponsors and key committee members to meet me by the ribbon cutting out front. Thank you so much.